Welcome to the revolution. When I've meditated in the past, I've done several different things, right? Normally when you meditate, you go through a certain steps, right? The normal meditation techniques is to take the words of Tim Ferriss, which I found to be really powerful. And something that I talk about with my young daughter pretty consistently is the idea of a monkey mind. Right, so there's the idea of the monkey mind, and the monkey mind is the consistent flow of subconscious thoughts that are constantly buzzing through your brain at any given time of the day, right? It's reminding you of that shit that you forgot to do, that you were supposed to do, that somebody might ask you about in the future. It's reminding you that you said something stupid to that person that you liked last week, and now you can't feel anything but shame about that one thing, and it can't escape your brain. It reminds you that, so-and-so is out there doing this incredible thing, and that you should possibly be capable of doing the same thing, and you're not living up to your potential. It's reminding you that, it's the song that won't get out of your head, right? It's the constant repetitive music from Encanto, because your child watches that. If you haven't watched that movie, it's interesting, but it drives me nuts. But anyways, back to monkey mind. The monkey mind is the part of your thought processes that are uncontrolled. It's the things that give you anxiety. It's the thoughts that make you depressed. It's the things that you feel are out of your control, right? That are driving you to be anxious or sad or mad, or it's basically the autopilot of your brain when you decide, or when you don't decide to be in control of it. And so what the initial parts of meditation end up being is learning how to submit that monkey mind. And usually it starts with something like this. They'll tell you to sit down. They'll tell you to take a deep breath. They'll tell you to take another deep breath. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And at a certain point, they'll tell you to count your breaths, right? I want you to count from 0 to 10, each full breath being 1, 2, 3. And you do that until you hit 10. And then you count from 10 down to 0, doing the same thing. And so you continue that process, let's say 6 to 10 times, right? 1 to 2 minutes of continuing that process of just thinking about your breath and counting your breath in a way that it completely takes over your consciousness and rids you of any of the poisonous thoughts that are happening because of your monkey mind. And then the next step is to sit still, do not count, and just breathe. But I want you to think of nothing. I want you to have a completely blank slate in your mind, and I want you to relax your body and mind and just think of absolute nothingness. And when people generally start this practice, what they'll find is that their monkey mind is so powerful, and their true self, their true consciousness, which is the individual who controls what is behind that monkey mind, right? Who subdues that monkey mind and determines that they're going to stop smoking a cigarette, right? And determines that they're going to write that book and overcome the obstacles and the easy habitual ways of thought patterns and patterns of action that are in their way, right? And so through this process of subduing your monkey mind for 10 minutes, and every time that you're, because it will happen, you'll get frustrated the first time that you do it. You'll breathe in, you'll breathe out. And all of a sudden that stupid assignment that you were supposed to do for school will pop into your brain. Or that task that you were supposed to have done tomorrow for work that you forgot about when you're laying up at night at 9:30, knowing you're not going to wake up and go do it. And then you breathe. And you remember that you're supposed to focus on your breath. You're not supposed to focus on all the stupid stuff that you forgot to do. And by consistently subduing that monkey mind, you'll find that you get more space for the things that you want to do in life, right? You'll find that you're not picking up that cigarette as often or at all. You'll find that you are more in control of your thoughts. You will find that there's this, you'll start to notice, because it's not going to go away initially just by starting to do that. But what you'll find is that you'll start to notice your monkey mind more often, and you'll start to disassociate with the thoughts that are consistently going through your mind that you normally identify with. Things that drive anxiety, things that drive depression. And after a certain amount of time of doing that, let's call it 6 months, your anxiety lessens, your depression shrinks away because you are starting to notice the patterns that are leading to that. The thought processes that have been carved into your brain since you were a child, that your parents put there for you, or that your coach told you that you were not good enough, or whatever it is. You'll find that you can start to reparent yourself, to re-educate yourself, to retrain yourself to live a life in a way that you want to, because you're no longer being controlled by the whims of your subconscious thoughts that you have no control over, but you're subduing those thoughts and instead replacing them with intentional ideas of positivity, of gratitude, of things that are good for you, not things that are bad for you. And so through that initial phase of meditation, you start to expand your true self, your true consciousness. And so that if normally your brain's being taken over by your monkey mind for, I don't know, call it 85% of the day, that by learning how to make that monkey mind tap out through the intentional practice of meditation, that your true self, your true consciousness, who has your best interest in mind, that is not just specifically repeating the traumatic experiences that you had because they're comfortable and habitual, you'll find that your life becomes better. You'll find that you have more gratitude for things. You'll find less wanting and more gratefulness. I tell my daughter this: grateful, not wantful. When my daughter is a lot of energy, right? Like I was as a kid, a lot of energy. And, she has constant, bouncing up and down because she wants to be doing something. And so she has all of this energy that she needs to get out. And what I've found is that all that bouncing is going on in her head, is going on in her brain. That monkey mind is taking over. And of course it is. She's 6 years old, right? And so, but what I've taught her is that, I've taught her the idea of the monkey mind, and to disassociate herself from the negative subconscious thoughts that drive anxiety and drive those negative emotions, and to realize that it's your monkey mind, and that all you need to do to subdue that monkey mind through practice is by taking a deep breath in and taking a deep breath out, and noticing your breath. And simply by doing that as often as you can, you'll find that you're taking control over from that monkey mind. And that's the introduction into meditation. That's the general idea. If you download the app Headspace, if you download the app Calm, any of those popular meditation apps, what you'll find is that's always step one. Step one is ridding yourself. You'll never rid yourself of your monkey mind, but you can learn to subdue it and learn to notice it to the extent that you can start to subdue it as often as possible and replace it with positive, helpful thoughts instead of negative emotions and negative, repetitive thoughts, right? So that's the intro. And that's where you generally start with meditation. And once you realize how powerful that is, you'll start to move into more interesting. Once you feel the effects of that, you'll go, wow, this shit really works. It's crazy. And so you start to see the positive effects in that, and it starts to make you realize the power that you have through intentionality. Through sheer willpower, you can rid yourself of your anxiety by ridding yourself of that monkey mind, at least as often as possible.